My parents lost a boy before I was born. They had me because they wanted a kid. Then they had two more kids, 3 and 5 years after me. They treated me like I was made of glass because I was the only boy. My sisters were treated very differently from me. My parents let them travel and play field hockey, and I could go on, but I'm getting angry just thinking about it. I was bullied for my parents' helicopter behavior. 10 years ago, I applied for university, far enough away from them that they wouldn't be able to interfere with me. They tried to say they weren't going to pay for an out-of-state college. They withheld my educational account. I went into debt to get my education. I chose a major I knew would earn me money instead of studying what I wanted. I graduated 6 years ago, and I paid off my student loan. I have not spoken to my parents since I graduated from high school. I didn't let them take pictures with me when I graduated high school, and I didn't invite them to my college graduation. I've taken up all kinds of sports to see what I like. I scuba dive, rock climb, and do a bunch of other stuff that I enjoy. I played rugby for my college. I broke my eye socket during a game. I can't say I loved that, but I loved the freedom of getting hurt and not having my mommy and daddy rush to the field to see if I was okay. I talked to the rest of my family, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, and cousins, even my sisters. I only have one rule. Do not tell my parents how to get a hold of me. I maintain like 12 different Gmail accounts so that I'll know who to cut off if one gets compromised. I only had to do it to one of my cousins who thought my parents could talk me into going to her wedding, and I deleted the account. My middle sister said that my parents needed to talk to me. I spoke to my therapist. I agreed to meet with them at my therapist office, and they had to give me a cashier's check for the cost of my education before I would talk to them. But I guess they used the money to help my sisters get through school without debt, so they didn't have the money. My sister says that they're begging their parents for money, so I will talk to them. They might have to mortgage their home. I don't care. It'll be free for them to leave me alone. My sister says that I'm being very cruel. I just can't bring myself to care, but I need to know what someone without skin in the game thinks. My family are all too invested. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. For most of this, you're in the right. Certainly, it's reasonable for a therapist to help if they want to repair your emotional relationship. You don't owe them a relationship if that's not what you want. You need to let go of this money resentment, though. Lots of people have to pay for their own education. No one owed you a college fund. The issue is more that they tried to use the funds as leverage to control you. Asking for a cashier's check as a condition to meet with them wasn't classy. You either want to repair the relationship or let it go, but you aren't justified in extorting them any more than they were justified in trying to control your life decisions. I slightly disagree about the money part. I question whether this is money resentment or a way to keep them away without making a firm no. That feels protective to me and seems worth exploring with the therapist. There might be better ways to make that boundary a hard one. They use the money to control you, and now you're using it to control their access to you, and that feels fair to me. But I'm petty. And tell your sisters to stop talking to you about your parents. I'm going against the grain here and saying you are the idiot. Your parents were helicopter parents worried about your safety, not out of spite or some mean thing. The whole money thing is the topper. You chose to go out of state, and they said that they wouldn't pay for it. You knew they weren't going to pay for it. They never said that they would pay for an out-of-state school. So now you want them to give you the money they never said that they would? It's your choice to cut them out, but it seems like your parents did what they did out of fear and love. They weren't trying to be malicious. For background, my fiance, 30 cis female, works as an executive at a big company and gets to work from home in leggings and crop tops. She's regularly stating that she loves that about her job. She can do dyed hair, tattoos, etc., and they don't care. She's white, and she also comes from generational wealth. I do not, trans 29. I came from poverty and trailer trash and worked my way up to become a professor at an excellent private college. I'm Latinx. I love my job. I can also wear dyed hair, tattoos, and piercings, but I dress professionally. There was a nice work event to celebrate the fall quarter. The college president was there. It was in an art gallery downtown. Nice band, fancy cocktails, and we were allowed to bring a guest. I was nervous because as an out trans guy, I regularly face a lot of microaggressions in the workplace, something my fiance knows and makes jokes about me being the token diversity hire. My fiance picked out 2 dresses the night before and asked me what I thought. I picked the flattering but not skin-tight one, made from nicer material, and it hugged her body in more appropriate areas. She got upset, cried because I didn't accept her as she was. The next day, I'm putting on my suit and tie. As I walk into the bathroom, I see her putting on the tight, less nice dress. We got into an argument. Finally, she put on the dress I picked. She didn't talk to me the whole night and pouted. She looked beautiful, but later she said I was controlling and that she felt rejected for who she was. I found out she told her friends, who now think I'm a controlling, toxic fiance. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's like, hey, pick between dress A and B. And he's like, okay, cool. I pick A. She's like, no, not that one. You don't respect me and my style. Like, what? Why are you even with her? I mean, she belittles your achievements. Token diversity hire. Disregards your struggles due to your ethnicity and ignores social dress codes regarding your workplace environment, or rather makes a game out of it and then talks awfully about you behind your back. I don't see how this spiraled into such a big deal unless there's more going on. Who pouts over a dress? Did she set you up by asking you to pick a dress? Her reaction makes no sense unless you were very mean about the other choice. Crying over this makes no sense. Adults know what's appropriate to wear in different situations, and she should know and understand why dressing more nicely at this event is essential to you. I think there are bigger issues here, and you think so too. Her calling you a token at your job as a joke is gross and frankly microaggression itself. I would think a lot about this relationship before making a bigger commitment. This is just the tip of a very large iceberg of issues. Agreed. I think you need to take the ring back. That was overreacting for her to call you a toxic fiance so quickly to all of her friends when she asked you to pick between 2 dresses that she picked out in the first place. Sounds like a trap she placed. Red flags, red flags, red flags. She's having second thoughts and making up excuses to get angry. Makes me wonder if someone else has caught her eye. I, 26 male, recently got betrothed to my dear fiance, 25 female, who I met when she was a transfer student in senior year, and we had to pair up for a history project. Ever since then, she's been my beloved. My mother has had quite a one-sided, tumultuous relationship with her, as she's always believed that she found my money more appealing than me, which I completely disagree with. My mother had an issue with all of my girlfriends before my senior year, too. She just holds this idea that no one is good enough for her son. She's believed this ever since she met her after 8 months of knowing her. I invited her to move into my place as she struggled with money and had neglectful parents. Another reason why my mother thinks my fiancé is using me is that she never came for money and has struggled with it as her parents both were drug addicts who ended up losing their jobs most of the time. Fast forward nearly 8 years later, we've been planning our Christmas party that'll take place a week before Christmas Day. We've been doing this for the last 5 years, and my mother has attended every single one on the condition of not speaking down on my partner or being hostile. We weren't engaged last Christmas, but we are now. So my mother has been immensely hostile about my fiancé to me, which I haven't allowed and told her to stop. A couple of days ago, we had a small dinner party at my place, and my mother showed up unexpectedly, as my sister had told her about it. She came, sat down, and had been visibly drinking. After my fiancé asked her if she wanted water or a plate of food, she looked at her with disgust and said, "You mean my son's water and my son's food?" Again, insinuating and trying to make it seem like there's some unbalanced dynamic or that I have an issue with this. She's probably helped me in more ways emotionally than I could have ever helped her in any aspect. So I was upset by this and escorted her out. She was calling me blind for not seeing her for what she was, and I told her not to come to the Christmas party or anywhere near us until she understood how immature and despicable she was being. My fiance tries so hard to be good friends with my mother and has never said anything bad about her, even when we're alone. My mother's been upset, saying that I picked my fiance over her, and how on earth could I uninvite her from the Christmas party that she loves to attend every year. My sister, 22, has told me that I went too far and that mother is just being a mother. Am I the idiot for doing this? Not the idiot. The excuse that mother's just being a mother. Nope, that's not just being a mother. That's being toxic for no reason. There's really no upside to inviting her. If you do, she'll ruin the party. If you don't, she'll just be mad at you. There's no collateral damage by not inviting her. You've been together for 8 years. At this point, your mother needs to get over her perceived grievance. You're right to protect your fiancé. Well done, sir. But also, her flying monkey, the sister, needs to be removed from your life as well. Sister is a don't rock the boat person. If she's a gold digger, she's definitely going for the long con. How can anyone think someone is a gold digger after 8 years? Mom definitely needs a timeout. My mother has been upset that I picked my fiancé over her. Do you not see how gross this sentiment is? Ugh, I'm so sorry. Yep, this isn't about choosing one person over another. This is about saying that some behavior is simply unacceptable, no matter who it's from. You did the absolute correct thing, and you were right in calling your mother's behavior immature and despicable. Your fiancé is a saint for putting up with this, and you're a good person for standing with her. This happened in October, and my daughter's still acting cold and hardly speaking to me. My daughter, Teen, works an after-school job 5 days a week. Her high school had a costume contest for Halloween. My daughter and her friends planned a group costume to enter. She went with her friends after school to buy costumes. I picked her and her friends up from the store, and they showed me their costumes. My daughter spent $80 on hers. I was angry. That's a lot of money to spend on something you're only going to wear for a few hours. Very irresponsible use of money. I told her as much in the car and told her it was ridiculous. I dropped her friends off and took her back to the store to return the costume and accessories. Her friends found someone else to take her place in the group, and they won the contest and a $100 Visa gift card to split. My daughter came home from school on Halloween upset. She claimed she had to sit and watch while her friends had fun, and she missed out on everything. I pointed out to her that after splitting the gift card, it would be way less than she spent on the costume, and it was only a few hours, but she didn't want to listen to reason. Now, months later, she's still moody and mostly ignoring me. My ex-husband told me I made her miss out, and she worked so much that she missed out on a lot of stuff with her friends, and I could have let her have this. But at the end of the day, I saved her $80. I'm just trying to teach my daughter how to be responsible with money. She could have gotten a cheaper costume, especially since she would have only worn it for a few hours. You are the idiot. Your daughter works. She earns money. Her money. As long as her obligations are taken care of, what does it matter if she splurges $80 on a costume? She can reuse it another time. Just being her parent doesn't give you control of the money she earns through her work. Congratulations, you just strained your relationship with your daughter for $80 that weren't even yours. I hope it was worth it. What you wanted to teach your daughter, the value of saving. What she learned, her mother cares more about money than friendships and her daughter's happiness. Furthermore, you taught her that you would micromanage her until she moved out. Congratulations! Your lesson on $80 will prompt her to spend that money on rent, utilities, and groceries at her first opportunity. Hopefully one of her friends will be her roommate. She spent her own money on the costume, and the point of the contest was to have fun with her friends. The $100 prize was irrelevant. $80 for a wonderful memory and experience? Unfortunately, she'll never forget this Halloween and how you ruined it for her. How often have you looked back on your childhood and remembered how your parents destroyed a fun moment? You took away memories and experiences and wonderful friendship bonding moments for $80. I can't wait for the day you tell her not to bother with a graduation gown or bridal dress or anything else that she'll only spend a few hours in because the memories aren't worth the money. Go and apologize to your daughter. I, 18 female, babysit for several families in my neighborhood. One of the families that I babysit for recommended me to this woman who's new to the neighborhood. She contacted me on Wednesday, asking if I could babysit her 2 kids from Friday evening through Saturday afternoon. Apparently, it was her friend's birthday, and they were spending a night in the mountains to celebrate. She asked me to show up early so she could discuss things with me. Nothing abnormal, especially since I've never met them before. I show up and she starts going over the usual stuff, and then she starts talking about insulin and blood sugars. One of the kids, a kindergartner, has type 1 diabetes, and she didn't think it would be important to let me know beforehand. I have zero experience caring for diabetic children. I told her I wasn't comfortable, and she just said, "Oh, don't worry, it's easy," and then tried to show me how to administer insulin. I also told her that I'm squeamish around needles, and she kind of laughed that off and continued trying to teach me. I finally had to cut her off and basically told her that, unfortunately, I wasn't comfortable caring for her diabetic child on such short notice, especially since she would be hours away and probably drinking, let's be honest. She started freaking out and begging me to stay, as she didn't want to miss her trip. It seemed like she was about to cry as I left, making me feel bad. I texted her when I got home and basically said that in the future, I would be willing to try, but I'd like to have some kind of trial run and we could build up to overnight once I actually knew what I was doing. She read my text but didn't respond. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This is not the kind of stuff you learn in a 5-minute chat before someone walks out the door and entrusts their kid to you. Since you're neither qualified nor comfortable performing such a task, you made the right choice. That lady sounds like a crazy idiot to me. I'd honestly not want to babysit for this woman in the future, regardless. Who leaves their kids with someone they've never met before for the first time for an overnight babysitting gig? Also, not mentioning beforehand that she expected the babysitter to give injections to her 5-year-old is insane. I had that same experience when I was a teen. A friend of a woman I sat for wanted to hire me for a few nights, and I was totally okay with it. What with her price range, $200 a night? Okay. Well, don't I find out the day before that her kid has diabetes? Hard nope. She goes over how he can do everything himself. He was 7 or 8 at the time, and I basically won't have to touch a thing. I said, what if something goes wrong? It won't. But what if it does? You worry too much. Sorry, lady, this is way above my pay grade. I walked right out of there and told her no. I don't feel comfortable with that amount of pressure. She called me names, spit at me, and screamed. So I ran home as fast as possible. I'll tell you what my mom told me. You are not obligated to care for a child with health concerns that could lead to a severe situation. You have the right to say no, and you did nothing wrong. I'm so glad you commented. All it takes is mistaking the slow-release insulin versus rapid one-time, and you're in a diabetic coma. If you prepare the dose and inject it before bed, the person will not wake up. That's not hyperbole. It's a reality I've witnessed firsthand. Good job standing up for yourself, OP. So, I'm getting married to my fiancé soon. I bought my wedding dress weeks ago. His mom, my future mother-in-law, kept bugging me about trying it on, but I firmly refused. I finally shut it down after she offered me $100 to let her try it on. Her reasoning for persisting so much? She says it's because of her love for wedding dresses and her obsession with them. Fast forward to yesterday. I came home from work early and found my fiancé at home. He freaked out after seeing me and tried to prevent me from going into my room while trying to text somebody on his phone. I opened the door and was shocked to see his mom standing there wearing my dress. I instantly pulled out my phone and took a photo of her. She and my fiancé freaked out after I told her she needed to pay me for a new dress in 3 days, or I'd show the whole family the photo. She started crying and then left, and my fiancé blew up at me, saying I can't be serious and that I overreacted because his mom just wanted to try the dress on. No harm done. but I refused to listen to him because, in my opinion, the dress should only be worn by the bride and the bride alone. Quite frankly, I feel disgusted looking at the dress again. I don't want it anymore. And so I think it's fair that she pays me after she ruined it for me. He yelled at me again and told me to wake up and stop treating his mom like that, as if she was the enemy. We had a fight after he failed to get me to back down, and he's been staying with his mom since then. I felt awful, but I spent $3,000 on this dress and worked hard to get it. I can't stand looking at it, but the people in my family think I'm escalating things and risking my relationship with not only my future mother-in-law, but my fiancé as well. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but are you sure you want to marry this guy? He stood guard outside your bedroom so his mother could try on your wedding dress. Do you think he'll ever stand up for you against her? Send the photo to everyone invited with an announcement that, regretfully, you will no longer be participating in the wedding, but you wish the couple the best. Mommy's the one he really wants as a bride. Oh my goodness, yes. Go full nuclear. It's going to take this man years to learn to respect the boundaries of anyone other than his mother. He saw his mom in the dress before he saw his fiancé in it, and he thought that was no big deal. He's just a spineless idiot who can't say no to his mother and is prepared to deceive OP if it shuts his mother up. His mother, on the other hand, is controlling, manipulative, and deceitful, and will probably be an absolutely horrible mother-in-law should OP choose to go through with this marriage. Oh yes, OP, do this. Send the photo to everyone as you bow out of your own wedding. This is a snapshot of what the rest of your married life will be like. He will always accede to his mother's wishes, regardless of your feelings or your own decision. It was your dress. Who does something like this? Narcissistic women who fantasize about marrying their sons? Yuck. Shut this crap down now and stop the wedding. Update. Oh my God, this blew up. So I thought I'd add some updates. My fiance called and offered to pay for the dress himself so we can end the conflict, but he wants me to hand him the phone so he can delete the photo himself, swear that I don't have any copies to use against his mom later, and apologize to his mom. And lastly, he asked that I quit his family group chat and log out of Facebook for at least a month. I have yet to respond. He called with this offer and conditions hours ago. Also, I'm not sure if I'll agree because I don't want him to pay for it. I want his mom, the one who wore it, to pay for it. Not being vicious, but trying to hold her accountable. Why would you still marry someone who went against your wishes like this and then treated you like the villain for being upset your boundaries were crossed? Girl, he let his mother wear your wedding dress. That doesn't make your skin crawl? Good luck ever competing with future mother-in-law if you decide to marry this dude. Next thing you know, his mom will be offering you intimacy advice. His terms are abusive. No Facebook for a month? Yeah, no. The only reason I can think of for why he doesn't want her on Facebook or in their family group chat is that they want to spin this story and write stuff about OP, and they don't want her seeing it and setting the record straight or supplying her side of the story. I agree after reading the update. Run. That is some controlling, scary things in there. Leaving the family group chat and logging off of Facebook? Why do those things other than to protect those who are planning on bashing you behind your back? OP, run. Send the photo to everyone and simply say, I'm out of this Game of Thrones freak show. Our conflict was about baby names and how nobody tells my sister directly what they're naming their kids, even when they're born. She's had 3 of her closest friends have babies in the last 5 years, and none of them told her directly, via text, DM, or in person, what the name is. She always finds out via a social media post, like the rest of the people in their lives who are not family. I also didn't tell her what my son's name would be directly. She found out via an Instagram post I made. My sister has a huge problem with being super judgmental. Names are not the only thing she's like that about, but that is when she's most vocal, I would say. She's always labeled people as bad parents over what they named their kids if she doesn't like it. I remember when she was about 20, and one of our aunts had a baby after 20 years of trying. She was in her mid-40s having her baby, and my sister told her, after all those years of waiting, she should have named her baby something better because she was already off to a rough start. The name in question was Meadow. My sister found it awful and trashy. Our uncle promptly shut her down. My sister's friends all know what she's like, but they have different taste in names. Some of the names are Hayden, Indigo, Darcy, Bryn, and Kaya. These are all names my sister would insult or claim they're setting their kids up for failure. She names her own kids Elizabeth, Josephine, and William, and my sister mostly expects others to give their kids' name in a similar style. My sister also hates my son's name, Sonny, and it was last month when she was meeting him for the first time, he was a few weeks old, that she started complaining about his name, and I shut her down. Then she told me how awful it was that I let her find out his name via Instagram. She said she never expected to find out the name of her only nephew that way, and I told her that I didn't want to hear her criticisms of the name. She then whined that nobody near her ever tells her their baby names. Her best friend not telling her directly hurts her the most. She has 2 kids, and my sister found out both their names on Facebook. She said, "I don't get it. Nobody seems to care about my feelings," etc. I told my sister that people might tell her more things if she wasn't so judgmental. I told her I would have told her if I had known she'd despise my son's name and judge my husband and me for picking it. My sister got defensive and said people are naming their kids such dumb things together. I told her she might think they're dumb, but not everyone will, and she hurts people's feelings by being so harsh. She told me I was judging her and being cruel and expected me to apologize for what I said. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You weren't being cruel. She simultaneously thinks she has the right to be personally informed of baby names and then give her criticism unopposed. She's living in a fantasy land, and hopefully you've made her see how unrealistic her expectations were. No one likes you and wants to hear your opinion, sis. She needed a reality check. Things might change if she posted a public apology on social media and promised not to criticize other people's baby names. But she earned her reputation as an insulting busybody and can't be mad at her sister for telling her about it. I had a friend, past tense, who would say things like this because she would say, "Just being honest," as if it was some free pass to say what everyone else was thinking. People like them are the worst. I'll go out on a limb here and guess she has trouble keeping friends. Your sister should learn to keep her unwanted opinions to herself. My teen male, mom died when I was 7, and it was a hard loss for me. My dad remarried 3 years later. For the first 4 years, my dad and stepmom were okay with me not celebrating her Mother's Day. The last couple of days have been more difficult. Dad has tried to get me to buy her a Mother's Day card and to spend the day with her. I've always said no. Then about a month ago, they decided that since next year, my half-sister will be 1 when the day comes around, we should do a vacation and make my stepmom the star of the day. I said that they could go, but I won't be, and that she'll never be my main priority on Mother's Day. But if they want a day where I focus on her, they can pick Stepmother's Day or something. My dad said he had enough of me denying her Mother's Day. I told him she's a mother now, so she can have her own child celebrate her for Mother's Day. But she's not my mother, and she's not even the woman I consider my primary mother figure. That goes to my paternal grandma, who I'm very close to, and who actually agrees with me. She and Dad have fought over this. She said she might be his mother, but she's also the only mother my mom ever knew. Her mom abandoned her as a baby, and she was raised by a father who resented her, and she loved her like a daughter and understood why I wanted Mother's Day to be for my mom. My stepmom asked me why I couldn't celebrate my mom another day, make her birthday the day when she's my main thought, and focus on her, who's living, breathing, and feeling. She said, most importantly, that she's been in my life almost longer than my mom now. She asked how I could have known her as a mom for 6 years and not want to celebrate her on that day for moms. I told her I never knew her as my mom. I've never once looked at her and felt that bond or thought of her in that way. I told her when I think of mom, I think of my mom. And if I hear mom figure, it's my grandma, not her. I said she doesn't even make the list. I told her since she is my stepmom, another day is fine by me, but not Mother's Day. My dad told me I have a rotten attitude and to think about the embarrassment my stepmom would feel if they took a trip for Mother's Day and I refused to go and make it special for her. Refusing her Mother's Day is like saying her contribution doesn't matter. He also said picking another day that hardly anyone knows about is not a compromise. It's shaming her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're lucky enough to have treasured memories of your mom before she passed on, so it's understandable why you feel no one can ever replace her. I also see why your father's frustrated, but he's wrong to try and force this relationship with your stepmom, especially when you already have a mother figure in your grandma. Father has no legitimate reason to be frustrated other than with his wife for being so freaking egocentric. I suspect stepmother's behind all of this, giving her husband crap for his kid not calling her mommy. He's tired of hearing it and lashing out at his kid for it. OP should stick to his guns, so to speak. OP's old enough and should start thinking about life after he turns 18 and wants out of their house. I'm going to say something opinionated. Mother's Day is stupid. All holidays and gift giving should be optional. Do we really need to be required to buy things for the people on all the correct occasions and celebrate all these stupid holidays in a way that pleases everyone with no conflicts? It's freaking exhausting. And I honestly hate all of it. And rant. Your stepmom needs to chill. She's not going to suffer if you don't make her the star of Mother's Day. Get her a card when you want, to say what you want. Any more than that is making way too much of things. Life's hard enough. Let's not make it harder. My girlfriend comes from a well-off family, vacation homes with boats and the works. I was super intimidated at first, but they're down-to-earth, good people, and everyone I've always interacted with has been kind to me. My girlfriend bought me a jacket that I wore to my parents' house, and my sister peeked at the label, and it said Valentino. My sister was being catty, asking what's the point of wearing expensive clothes if no one can tell. I tell her I'd never seen any of my girlfriend's friends and family members flash anything with logos. It's either simple clothes or a kitsch design. Most of them would find having logos plastered over everything crass. My sister thought I was calling her out because she saved for months for her Louis Vuitton bag, covered in logos. She took it as an insult and me being snobby towards her, and I was just telling her my reference point that I'd never seen my girlfriend's family, friends, or anyone on vacation that had logos over everything. My sister was extremely mad at me and called me out, saying I was a gold digger and I didn't know crap about anything. I left my parents' house, and my mom texted me later, saying I shouldn't have said that because my sister spent months saving up for her bag, and now she thinks it's tacky. I told my mom I was sorry, and I didn't mean to insult her or make her feel bad about her bag. Not the idiot. Most people I've observed who come from generational wealth do not show off their labels. It's people who have new money who tend to do that. Wealth whispers. It doesn't shout. Your sister's purse is screaming, I had to save months to afford this. And it's true. It's actually screaming, I'm most likely fake. LOL. There are literally so many fakes out there that the chances of seeing a real one on any given day are very small. So most people just assume everything they see is fake. If your sister felt called out, it's because she knows she's guilty of flashing labels for status. The most humble person I've ever met was a billionaire client. He wore grubby blue jeans and a polo. His hair needed a trim, and his eyebrows were overgrown. You would never in a million years know the kind of wealth he had. Nicest man ever, too. My 23 female roommate Rose, 24 female, has meal preps for her entire week of lunches and dinners. She always waits till late Sunday night to do all the cooking. So often, she'll leave the containers to cool on the counter overnight because it's too hot to put in the fridge right away before she goes to bed. 2 months ago, I moved my 2 cats into the apartment. Now, I don't allow them on the counters in my household, but if there's food left open, they will try to get into it. I explained that she should be aware that the cats might try to eat her food or knock it over if she leaves it all night. But she brushed me off, saying it was fine. I told her it was only a matter of time before it happened. Well, it finally happened. I woke Monday morning to the kitchen in a mess because the cats had knocked over several containers onto the floor. I cleaned up and put the rest of the food that still looked fine into the fridge. Overall, out of 7 lunches and 7 dinners, about half was ruined. When Rose got up, I explained what happened and apologized. She flipped out on me because she couldn't afford more food for the week. Rose demanded that I buy more food because my animals caused this, but I also couldn't afford to buy her more meals out of my own budget. I told her I wouldn't replace anything because she was being irresponsible with her food by leaving it out, and I had already warned her that this might happen. She's still furious with me, and some of my friends have said that I am obligated to replace her food since my cats did the damage. You are the idiot. Keep your cats in your room Sunday nights. They're animals. You're the human. You're responsible. I'm also concerned about the cats getting sick. They have different digestive systems than humans. Cats getting sick? The roommate leaving stuff out for hours is the one that should be worried about illness. If your food is too hot, put it in containers with the lids on in the fridge once it's cooled a bit. You should never leave any food requiring refrigeration out to cool for an hour or more, no matter what it is. Why is everyone acting like it's totally normal to leave cooked food out in the open for hours? That's insane to me. LOL, it sounds like the cats did her a favor in preventing her from giving herself food poisoning. I would understand my roommate being angry if she was in the middle of putting her containers together, still cooking, and the cats jumped up. But she was wrong to leave them out overnight, especially when you live with animals. You'd think it was common sense. Also, I'm assuming she agreed to cohabitate with the cats. You can't lock a cat in a room all night without the litter box. If the roommate agreed to live with the cats and was warned that the cats would try to eat the food that's left out, that's on her. Choices and consequences, my friend. I think OP's not the idiot.